I gave her everything. $200,000. My retirement, my future. She said we'd build something together. A durian farm in the hills of Phuket. She said it was our dream. But I never saw a single fruit. I never even saw the land. And by the time I realized what was happening, she was already gone. If our stories resonate with you, don't forget to like, comment, and tell us where you're watching from. This story was shared with us by one of our viewers. I'm sitting on Ploy's balcony in Phuket, watching the sunset turn the Andaman Sea into liquid gold. The sky is streaked with orange and pink, and the warm breeze carries the smell of salt and jasmine. She's beside me, her hand in mine, and she's talking about durian farms. Her voice is soft, excited, like a child describing a dream she's held on to for years. She says her uncle knows a perfect plot of land, 10 res up in the hills outside the city, away from the tourist chaos. She says durian is called the king of fruits for a reason. The profit margins are insane. Tourists pay hundreds of dollars per fruit in some countries. Japan, China, Singapore, Australia. She squeezes my hand and says, "We could do this together, darling. Build something real, something that lasts. Not like those other Farang who just come here and waste money on bars and girls. We could build a real business, a real future." I look at her face glowing in the fading light, and I feel something I haven't felt in 3 years. Hope. Pure, unfiltered hope. I feel alive again. I don't tell her I'm scared. I don't tell her I've already started believing every word she says. My name is Graham Walsh. I'm 64 years old. I came to Thailand 6 months ago from Adelaide, South Australia. I was a civil engineer for 37 years. Built bridges, highways, water treatment plants across Australia. I was good at my job, methodical, precise. I never made mistakes. I was good at being married too. Carol and I were together for 35 years. High school sweethearts. We built a life together. A house, a garden, Sunday dinners, holidays to the coast. She died of pancreatic cancer 3 years ago. It was fast. 6 weeks from diagnosis to funeral. The doctors said there was nothing they could do. I watched her fade away in a hospital bed, and I couldn't fix it. I couldn't engineer a solution. I couldn't save her. After she died, I tried to keep living in our house, but every room felt like a ghost. Every corner held a memory I couldn't bear to face. So I sold it. I sold everything. The furniture, the car, the garden tools. I took what was left of my savings and my pension, and I bought a one-way ticket to Thailand. I'd heard stories. Warm weather, cheap living, kind people. I thought maybe I could disappear for a while. Maybe I could breathe again. Maybe I could find a reason to wake up in the morning. I rented a small apartment in Patong. Nothing fancy. Just a studio with a balcony overlooking a side street. I could hear the motorbikes and the music from the bars at night. I ate street food. Pad Thai from the cart on the corner. Mango sticky rice from the woman with the kind smile. I walked on the beach every morning. I watched the tourists, the young couples, the families, the backpackers. Everyone seemed to have somewhere to be, someone to be with. I was just a shadow moving through their world. I tried to feel normal. I tried to feel something, but mostly I just felt numb. And then I met Ploy. She worked at a beachside cafe near my apartment. A small place with plastic chairs and a tin roof. The coffee was terrible, but the view was beautiful. She had a smile that could light up a room. She was 26, beautiful in that effortless way. Long black hair, warm brown eyes, a laugh that sounded like music. She always remembered my order. Cappuccino, no sugar. After the 3rd or 4th time I came in, she started adding a little heart in the foam. One morning she sat down across from me without asking and said, "You look sad. Why you come to Thailand alone?" I didn't know how to answer, so I just said, "I lost someone." She nodded like she understood. She said, "Me too. Everyone lose someone. That's why we're here, right? To find something new." That was the start. We talked every morning, then every evening. She told me about her life. She grew up poor in Isan, the northeast region. Her father left when she was 5. Her mother raised her and her younger sister Dao alone, working in the rice fields. She said she came to Phuket to find work to send money home. She said she'd been working in cafes and resorts for 8 years. She said she was tired. Tired of being alone. Tired of serving tourists who looked through her like she didn't exist. Then one night she invited me to her apartment. It was small, clean. She'd decorated it with plants and candles. She cooked for me, pad thai, green curry, mango sticky rice. We sat on her balcony under the stars. She told me more about her dreams. She said she wanted to do something meaningful with her life. Not just serve coffee. She wanted to build something. She said her uncle had connections in agriculture. She said there was opportunity in Thailand if you knew the right people. And then she looked at me with those big brown eyes and said, "You're different, Graham. Most Farang, they just want one thing. But you listen. You care." She leaned in and kissed me. It was soft, warm, and I felt my chest tighten. I hadn't been kissed since Carol died. I hadn't been touched. I pulled back and said, "Ploy, I'm old enough to be your father." She smiled and said, "Age is just number. I don't care about that. I care about heart. And you have good heart." She kissed me again, and I let myself believe her. The next few weeks were like a dream. We spent every day together. She took me to night markets, to temples, to hidden beaches away from the tourists. She held my hand in public. She introduced me to her friends as her boyfriend. I felt wanted. I felt needed. I felt alive for the first time since Carol died. And then she started talking about the durian farm. At first it was just a mention, a passing idea. My uncle, he knows about durian farming. Very profitable. But then it became more detailed. She said her uncle Somchai was a land broker and agricultural consultant. She said he'd been in the business for 20 years. She said he knew a plot of land that was perfect. 10 rai in the hills, good soil, good water. The owner was selling cheap because he needed money fast. She said if we moved quickly, we could get it for a fraction of what it was worth. She said durian trees take 3 years to fruit, but after that it's pure profit. She said we could make back our investment in 5 years, maybe 3 if we were smart. I listened. I asked questions. She had answers for everything. How much would it cost? About 100,000 Australian dollars total. 50 for the land, 50 for seedlings, labor and infrastructure. How would we manage it? Her uncle would handle everything. He had workers. He had connections. We'd just be the investors. What about risk? She said durian was in high demand. Prices were only going up. Thailand was the world's largest exporter. She showed me articles on her phone, charts, graphs. She said, "This is real opportunity, darling. Not like those scam business. This is real." And then she said the words that hooked me completely. She said, "We could do this together. Build something. Build our future, you and me." I wanted to believe her. I wanted so badly to believe that I could have a future again, that I could be more than just a lonely old man waiting to die in a foreign country. So I said yes. I said, "Let's do it." She threw her arms around me and cried. Real tears. She said, "You changed my life, Graham. You changed everything." 2 days later, Ploy called me in the morning. Her voice was bright, almost breathless. "Darling, my uncle wants to meet you. He has the land ready. Can you come today?" I said yes before I even thought about it. She picked me up in a beat-up Honda Civic. We drove for over an hour into the hills, winding through jungle roads and small villages. The further we went, the more remote it became. She held my hand the whole time. She was wearing a white sundress and smelled like coconut and something floral. I felt nervous, excited like a kid on his first date. She kept saying, "You're going to love it, darling. It's so beautiful, so peaceful. Perfect place for our farm." We pulled up to a clearing near a small wooden house. Chickens were scratching in the dirt. A dog barked from somewhere behind the house. A man stepped out. He was in his 50s, stocky with a round face and a wide smile. He was wearing a polo shirt and had a gold chain around his neck. His belly hung over his belt. "This is Somchai," Ploy said. "My uncle." Somchai walked over and shook my hand firmly. His palms were sweaty. "Brother," he said in rough English. "Welcome, welcome. Ploy, tell me all about you." "You good man. I help you. We make money together, yes?" I nodded. I liked him immediately. He had that easy charm, that confidence. I don't know why, but I trusted him. He led us down a dirt path into the jungle. The air was thick and humid. I could hear birds and insects everywhere, cicadas buzzing, monkeys calling from the trees. After about 10 minutes of walking, we reached a hillside clearing. It was beautiful. Rolling green hills, thick trees, a small stream running down one side, the smell of wet earth and jasmine. The view stretched for miles. You could see the ocean in the distance, a thin blue line on the horizon. Samchai spread his arms wide and said, This is the land. 10 rai, perfect for durian. Good soil, good water. Owner need money fast. We get good price. Very good price. He pulled a folder from his bag. Inside were documents covered in Thai script. Land titles, permits, maps with red circles and lines. I couldn't read any of it. It could have been a grocery list for all I knew. Ploy leaned close to me and translated in a soft voice. This one is the land registration certificate. This one is the agriculture permit from the district office. This one is the water rights from the irrigation department. I nodded like I understood. I wanted to understand. Somchai talked fast. His hands were always moving. He said labor was cheap here. 20 workers for the whole first year would cost less than 10,000 Australian dollars. Durian seedlings were expensive, but he had a connection, a nursery in Chantaburi that sold premium Monthong variety. He said Monthong durian could sell for 300 baht per kilogram in Bangkok, more in export markets. He said each tree could produce 50 to 100 kilograms per year once mature. He said we'd plant 200 trees. He pulled out a calculator and started punching numbers. First year we prepare land. Second year we plant and maintain. Third year small harvest. Fourth year full production. By year 5 you make back everything. After that, pure profit. Maybe $200,000, $300,000 per year. Easy money, brother. Ploy squeezed my hand and said, This is our chance, darling. Our future. We could live here. Build a house. Wake up every morning and see the ocean. No more rent. No more working for other people. Just us and our land. I looked at her face. She was glowing. She believed it. I wanted to believe it too. But 50,000 Australian dollars, that was a huge chunk of my savings. Nearly a third of what I had left after selling the house and paying Carol's medical bills. Somchai must have seen the hesitation on my face. He put his hand on my shoulder and said, I know it big money, brother. But this real opportunity, real investment. Not like bar, not like condo that government can take away. This is land. Land never go away. In Thailand, land is king. You own land. You own future. Ploy looked at me with those big eyes and said, I trust him, Graham. He's family. My mother's brother. He would never hurt us, never. I took a breath. I looked at the hills. I looked at the stream. I looked at her. And I said, okay, let's do it. Somchai smiled so wide I could see his gold tooth in the back. He shook my hand again. Good, very good. You smart man, brother. You'll not regret this. He said he needed 50,000 Australian dollars to start. That would cover the land purchase and the initial costs. He said we'd need another 50 over the next year for seedlings, equipment, and labor. He said he'd give me all the paperwork once the sale went through. He said it would take about a week to process with the land office. Ploy hugged me. She said, Thank you, darling. Thank you for believing in me. In us. That night I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling fan, going over the numbers in my head. 50,000 now. 50,000 later. What if something went wrong? What if the trees died? What if there was a drought? But then I thought about Ploy's face. The way she looked at me. The way she held my hand. The way she said, our future. And I pushed the doubts away. The next day I went to the bank and wired 50,000 Australian dollars to the account Somchai had given me. The teller asked if I was sure. She said, This is large amount. You know this person? I said yes. She printed the receipt and handed it to me. I stared at the numbers. 50,000 gone just like that. It felt huge. It felt terrifying. But when I told Ploy, she cried. Real tears streaming down her face. She threw her arms around me and said, You changed my life, Graham. You changed everything. I promise I make you proud. I promise we build something beautiful. That night she cooked for me again. Pad Thai with extra shrimp. Green curry with chicken. Mango sticky rice with coconut cream. We sat on her balcony under the stars. She told me more about her childhood. She said her mother worked in the rice fields from sunrise to sunset, just to feed them. She said her sister Dao was still in school, studying to be a nurse. She said she sent money home every month, 2,000 baht, 3,000, whatever she could spare. She said her mother was her hero. She said, "I want to take care of her, Graham. She sacrificed everything for me. Now it's my turn." Her eyes filled with tears. I asked what was wrong. She shook her head. "Nothing. Just my mother, she's sick. She has diabetes. The medicine very expensive. I try to help, but it's hard on my salary." I asked how much she needed. She shook her head. No. I don't want to ask you for more. You already give so much. I can't." But I insisted. I said I wanted to help. She finally said 12,000 baht a month would cover the medicine and the doctor visits. That was about 500 Australian dollars. I told her it was no problem. I'd send it every month. She cried again. She said, "You are angel, Graham. You are best man I ever meet." She rested her head on my shoulder. I kissed the top of her head. I felt like a hero. I felt needed. I felt like maybe this was where I was supposed to be. The next 2 months were a blur. Ploy was busy. She said she was coordinating with Somchai, managing the workers, ordering supplies. She showed me photos on her phone. Cleared land, wooden posts marking boundaries, workers in straw hats digging irrigation channels, piles of gravel and sand for the access road. She said the seedlings were ordered from Chantaburi. She said they'd arrive in 2 weeks. She said Somchai was managing everything perfectly. I asked when I could visit the farm. She said soon. She said it was still a mess. Mud everywhere. Equipment scattered around. She said she wanted me to see it when it was perfect, when I could walk around and be proud. I believed her. I wanted to believe her. Somchai sent invoices through Ploy, labor costs for clearing the land, equipment rental for the excavator and truck, fertilizer and soil amendments, gravel for the road. I kept wiring money. 15,000 here, 20,000 there. Every time Ploy thanked me. Every time she showed me new photos. But I noticed something. The photos always looked the same. The same angle. The same piles of dirt. I asked her about it. She said the workers moved slow. Thai style, she said with a laugh. Not like Australia. Here everything take time. But don't worry, darling. It's happening. I see it with my own eyes. My savings account was shrinking fast. I'd gone from 180,000 Australian dollars to less than 90 in just 2 months. But Ploy said we were so close. She said the seedlings would arrive soon. She said once the trees were in the ground, we just had to wait. 3 years. That was all. I tried to focus on that, on the future. On waking up in a house on the hill, looking at the ocean, drinking coffee with Ploy on our balcony. Our balcony. Our farm. Our life. But something felt off. Ploy was different now. She was always busy. Always on her phone. When I asked who she was talking to, she said it was Somchai or her mother or the workers. She'd step outside to take calls. She'd text while we were eating. The warmth from those first weeks was fading. She didn't hold my hand as much. She didn't kiss me goodnight. When I tried to touch her, she'd pull away. She'd say she was tired. She'd say she was stressed about the farm. She'd say, "Not now, darling. I have headache." I told her it was okay. I told her I understood, but I didn't understand. I felt her slipping away. One night, I suggested we visit the farm together. Just the two of us. Take a picnic. Spend the day there. She snapped at me. "Why you don't trust me? You think I lie? You think I take your money and do nothing?" I said no, of course not. I just wanted to see it. I wanted to be part of it. She softened. She said, "I'm sorry, darling. I'm just so stressed. So much to manage. Soon, okay? I promise. Just be patient." So I waited. I kept waiting. I started going to a bar in Patong called Niran's Place. It was a small open-air bar near the beach. Cheap beer. Good music. The owner was a guy named Niran, Australian expat. Late 60s. Thick grey beard, sun-weathered skin. He'd been living in Thailand for 15 years. He'd come after his divorce. Lost his business. Lost his house. Started fresh in Phuket. We started talking one night over beers. He asked what brought me to Thailand. I told him about Carol, about the loneliness, about Ploy. He listened quietly. When I told him about the farm, about the investment, his expression changed. He took a long sip of his beer. He said, "How much have you put in?" I said, "About 75,000 so far." He nodded slowly. He didn't say anything for a minute. Then he said, "Mate, have you actually seen this land?" I said, "No, not yet." Ploy said it wasn't ready. He said, "And this uncle, you met him once?" I said, "Yes." He said, "You got anything in writing? Contracts, deeds, anything with your name on it?" I said Somchai had all the documents. I said Ploy translated them for me. Niran sighed. He said, "Graham, I'm not saying she's lying, but I've been here a long time. I've seen this story before. A lot. Older guys, Thai girlfriends, big investments in land, farms, businesses, and then nothing. You know foreigners can't own land in Thailand, right?" I felt a cold weight settle in my stomach. I said I didn't know that. He said, "Yeah, any land you buy has to be in a Thai national's name. So legally, even if this farm is real, it's not yours. It's hers. Or her uncle's. You're just the money man," I wanted to argue. I wanted to defend Ploy. I wanted to tell Niran he was wrong, but I couldn't find the words. He must have seen the look on my face because he softened. He said, "Look, mate, I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But just be careful. Ask to see the documents. Ask to see the land. Don't just take her word for it." I finished my beer and left. I walked back to my apartment in a daze. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about what Niran said. So I kept thinking about the invoices, the photos, the excuses. I pulled out my phone and went through the photos Ploy had sent me. I zoomed in. The backgrounds were blurry. The workers' faces were never clear. One photo showed wooden posts, but I couldn't see any landmarks. No mountains, no buildings. Nothing to confirm it was actually the land we'd seen. Another photo showed an excavator digging, but the angle was weird, like it was taken from far away. I felt sick. The next morning I called Somchai's number directly. It rang and rang and rang, no answer. I tried again an hour later. Same thing. I sent him a text in English. "Hi Somchai, this is Graham. Can we talk about the farm progress? I'd like to visit soon." No reply. I tried calling again the next day. And the next. Nothing. I asked Ploy for Somchai's address, the land office address where the sale was being processed. She wrote it down on a napkin. I drove there the next morning. It was in a commercial district outside Phuket town. Old shop houses. Motorbike repair shops. A 7-Eleven on the corner. When I found the address, my heart sank. It was a shuttered building. The windows were boarded up. There was trash piled out front. Graffiti on the walls. I stood there for 10 minutes staring at it. I called the number on the sign. Disconnected. I asked the guy at the motorbike shop next door if he knew anything about the land office. He looked at me like I was crazy. He said in broken English, "No office here. This building empty 5 year." I sat in my car for an hour staring at the boarded-up building. My hands were shaking. I felt like I was going to throw up. I drove back to Ploy's apartment. She was home, sitting on the couch, scrolling through her phone. I asked her about the address. She barely looked up. "Oh, maybe he moved office. I don't know. Why you care so much?" I said I just wanted to understand. I said I wanted to see the paperwork. She put her phone down. Her face went hard. "You don't trust me, I know. You think I'm some bar girl trying to steal from you. You think I'm a liar." I said, "No, that's not what I think." I said I just wanted to see the documents, to understand. She stood up. She said, "I give you everything. My time, my love, my dreams, and you think I'm a thief." She started crying. Big heaving sobs. She said, "Maybe you just go back to Australia. Maybe you find some white woman who you can trust, because clearly you don't trust me." I felt terrible. I felt like the bad guy. I tried to apologize. I tried to explain. But she wouldn't listen. She said she needed to be alone. I left. 2 days later, she texted me. "I'm sorry for getting upset. It's just very stressful. My mother's condition got worse. Doctors say she needs surgery for her foot. The diabetes is very bad. If she don't get surgery, they might have to amputate. I'm so scared, Graham." I called her. She was crying. She said the surgery cost $12,000. She said she didn't know what to do. She said her sister Dow was trying to borrow money, but no one would help. I asked if I could talk to her mother. Ploy hesitated. She said her mother didn't speak English. She said her mother was in the hospital in Udon Thani, too far away. I said I could send money to Dow, have her arrange it. Ploy's voice got cold. She said, "If you don't trust me, just say it. Just say you think I'm lying about my own mother." I felt my chest tighten. I didn't know what to say. She said, "Forget it. I'll figure it out myself. I always do." And she hung up. I sat there holding my phone, feeling like the worst person in the world. An hour later, I transferred $12,000 to her account. She texted back immediately. "Thank you, darling. You saved her life. I love you so much." That night she came over. She was warm again, affectionate. She held me. She thanked me. She said I was the best man she'd ever known. But I couldn't sleep. I lay awake staring at the ceiling, feeling like I was drowning. The next morning I called my old friend Mark in Adelaide. We'd worked together for 20 years. He was one of the few people I still talk to back home. I told him everything. The farm, the money, the doubts. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, there was a long silence. Then he said, "Graham, this sounds like a scam. You need to get out now." I told him he didn't understand. I told him Ploy was different. Mark said, "Mate, I've known you for 30 years. You're one of the smartest guys I know. But right now you're being an idiot. You've given this woman nearly $90,000 and you haven't seen anything. No land, no contracts, nothing. Wake up." I felt my face flush. I said he didn't know her. He said, "You're right. I don't, but I know you. And you're not thinking straight. You're lonely. You're desperate. And she's taking advantage of that." I hung up on him. I was angry, embarrassed. But deep down I knew he was right. I decided I needed to see the farm. No more excuses. No more delays. I called Ploy and told her we were going tomorrow. She tried to argue. She said it wasn't a good time. I said I didn't care. I said I needed to see it. She went quiet. Then she said, "Okay, we go tomorrow." Her voice was flat, cold. That night she didn't come over. She didn't call. I barely slept. The next morning she picked me up in the same beat-up Honda. She didn't smile. She didn't hold my hand. We drove for 2 hours into the hills. She didn't talk. She just stared out the window. So I tried to make conversation. I asked how her mother was doing. She said fine. I asked about the seedlings. She said they were delayed. I asked when they'd arrive. She shrugged. The roads got narrower. The jungle got thicker. We passed the same landmarks I remembered from the first trip. The wooden house with the chickens. The stream. But then she turned down a different dirt road. I said, "Is this the right way?" She said yes. We drove for another 20 minutes. The road got rougher, potholes and loose gravel. Finally, she said, "Stop here." I pulled over. We got out. There was nothing, just jungle, thick trees, vines hanging from the canopy, the sound of insects buzzing. I looked around. I said, "Where is it?" She pointed vaguely into the jungle. "There." I walked in the direction she pointed. Nothing, just more trees. I turned back. "Ploy, where's the farm?" She said we must have taken a wrong turn. I said we'd been driving for 2 hours. She said the roads all looked the same. She pulled out her phone. She tried to call Somchai. I watched her dial. It rang and rang. And then a recorded message in Thai. She hung up. She tried again. Same thing. I pulled out my phone and called his number. The line was disconnected. I looked at her. She wouldn't meet my eyes. I said, "Ploy, where's the farm?" She started crying. She said, "I don't know. Somchai, he was supposed to handle everything. He showed me photos. He showed me documents. He said it was real. I felt like the ground was opening up beneath me. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I said, Did you know?" She didn't answer. She just cried harder. I said louder, "Did you know this was fake?" She looked at me with tears streaming down her face. She said, "He's my uncle, my family. I trusted him. He lied to me too. I wanted to believe her." I tried so hard to believe her, but I'd given her nearly $90,000, plus 12 for her mother's surgery, plus 500 a month for medicine, over 100,000 Australian dollars. And there was nothing. Not a single tree, not a single cleared plot, not even a wooden post. I looked at her crying in front of me. I said, "Was any of this real? Did you ever actually love me? Or was I just an ATM?" She sobbed. She said, "I did love you. I do love you. This wasn't supposed to happen. Samchai promised me. He promised. I felt something break inside me. I started the car. I said, "Get in." We drove back in silence. The whole 2 hours, neither of us said a word. When we got to her apartment, she got out. She stood by the car door looking at me with red eyes. She said, "I'm sorry, Graham." "I'm so sorry." I didn't respond. I just drove away. I went back to my apartment. I sat on the balcony and stared at the sea. I didn't eat. I didn't sleep. I just sat there replaying everything in my head. Every conversation, every promise, every touch. I'd been such a fool. 3 days went by. I didn't hear from Ploy. Then on the 4th day, she texted me. "I'm sorry. I didn't know. Please forgive me. I love you." I stared at the message for an hour. Then I deleted it. But she kept texting. "Please talk to me. I miss you. Let me explain." I blocked her number. Niran came by a few days later. I don't know how he knew where I lived. Maybe I'd mentioned it. He knocked on my door, and when I opened it, he was holding a 6-pack of beer. He didn't say "I told you so." He didn't say anything. He just came in and sat on my balcony. We drank in silence. After the 3rd beer, I told him everything. The drive to the jungle, the empty land, Samchai's disconnected number, the fake land office, everything. He listened. When I finished, he said, "You want to talk to a lawyer?" I shook my head. I said, "What's the point? The money's gone. It's in a Thai bank account under Samchai's name or Ploy's name. I've got no contracts, no proof, no legal standing. I'm just another stupid Farang who got scammed." Niran nodded. He said, "Yeah, probably right. The police won't do anything either. They hear this story 10 times a week." We sat in silence for a while. Then he said, "For what it's worth, mate, I'm sorry. I really am." A few days later, Niran introduced me to a guy named Kittisak. He was a real Thai farmer from up north, grew mangoes and longan. He was in Phuket visiting family. He spoke decent English. Niran thought maybe talking to him would help me understand what happened. We met at Niran's bar. I told Kittisak the whole story. He listened without judgment. When I finished, he nodded slowly. He said, "I'm very sorry this happened to you. It happened a lot, especially to foreigner. You know, in Thailand, foreigner cannot own land. It's the law. Any land purchase must be in Thai name. So even if your girlfriend or her uncle did buy land, it would be their name on the title, not yours. Legally, you own nothing." I said I didn't know that. He said, "Most foreigner don't know. That's why the scam works so well." I asked if he thought the land even existed. He shrugged. He said, "Maybe, maybe not. Probably your money went to pay for other things. Maybe Somchai has debts. Maybe he has gambling problem. Maybe he just greedy. Hard to say. The photos your girlfriend showed you could be from anywhere. Could be old photos. Could be someone else's farm. Very easy to fake." I asked about the invoices, the expenses. He said, "All fake. You can print anything on a piece of paper. Labor cost, equipment rental, seedlings. None of it real." I felt numb. I asked, "What about Ploy? Do you think she knew?" Kittisak looked uncomfortable. He glanced at Niran, then he said, "I don't know her. I cannot say for sure. But in my experience, yes, she knew. Maybe not at the start. Maybe Somchai told her it was real business and she believed him. But after a while she would know. Thai people are not stupid. She would see no land. No workers. No receipts. She would know." I nodded. I already knew the answer. I just needed to hear someone else say it. Kittisak said, "You want my advice? Let it go. Forget the money. Forget the girl. You cannot get it back. The only thing you can do now is protect what you have left. Don't send more money. Don't believe more promises. Just walk away." I thanked him. Niran walked him out. When Niran came back, he sat down across from me. He said, "You gonna be okay?" I didn't answer. I didn't know. For the next week, I barely left my apartment. I ordered food delivery. I sat on my balcony and watched the tourists below. Families with kids, couples holding hands. Everyone moving forward with their lives while I sat frozen in mine. I kept thinking about Carol, about our life together, about how simple things were, how honest. We never had much money, but we had each other. We had trust. And I threw it all away, chasing some fantasy in a foreign country. I thought about calling my daughter in Melbourne, Sarah. We hadn't spoken in over a year. Not since I told her I was moving to Thailand. She thought I was having a breakdown. She wanted me to move in with her and her husband. But I said no. I said I needed space. I said I needed to figure things out on my own. How could I tell her now that I'd lost $100,000 to a scam? How could I admit that I'd been that stupid? That desperate? I couldn't, so I didn't call. I kept checking my phone, expecting another message from Ploy. But there was nothing. The silence was almost worse than the lies. At least when she was texting, I could be angry. I could feel something. But now there was just emptiness. I thought about what Kitty Sack said. Let it go, walk away. But how do you walk away from $100,000? How do you walk away from the humiliation? From the shame? I'd spent my whole life being careful, being smart, making good decisions. And in 6 months I'd undone all of it. I'd proven that I was just another lonely old fool who couldn't tell the difference between love and manipulation. 2 weeks after the jungle trip, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. It was Ploy. Her voice was quiet, hesitant. Graham, please don't hang up. I should have hung up. I should have ended it right there. But I didn't. I said, "What do you want?" She said, "I need to see you." "To explain, please, just one time. Give me one chance." I said, "There's nothing to explain. You and your uncle stole from me. That's all I need to know." She started crying. She said, "It's not like that. Please meet me. Just coffee. 30 minutes. Then if you want, you never see me again." I don't know why I agreed. Maybe I wanted closure. Maybe I wanted to look her in the eye one more time and hear the truth. Maybe I was still hoping for some miracle explanation that would make it all make sense. I said, "Fine, tomorrow, 2 o'clock. The cafe where we met." I showed up 15 minutes early. I sat at the same plastic table where she'd first sat down across from me 6 months ago. The same table where she'd asked me why I looked sad. The same table where this whole nightmare started. She arrived exactly at 2. She looked different, thinner, tired. Her hair was pulled back. No makeup. She sat down across from me. She didn't smile. She didn't try to touch me. She just looked at me with red eyes and said, "Thank you for coming." I said, "You have 30 minutes. Start talking." She took a deep breath. She said, "Somchai is gone. I haven't heard from him in 3 weeks. His phone is disconnected. His house is empty. His neighbors say he left in the middle of the night. I don't know where he is." I said, "Well, what about the money?" She looked down at her hands. "I don't know. I gave him everything you sent me. Every but. He said he was buying the land, paying the workers, ordering the seedlings. I trusted him. He's my uncle, my family." I said, "So there was no land, no farm, nothing." She shook her head. "I don't know. Maybe he did buy something. Maybe he just took the money. I don't know anymore." I leaned forward. I said, "Did you know? From the beginning, did you know this was a scam?" She looked at me. Tears started running down her face. She said, "No, I swear to you, Graham. At first I thought it was real. Samchai showed me photos. He showed me documents. He took me to see land. I thought we were really building something." I said, "At first. What about later?" She didn't answer. I said louder, "When did you know, Ploy? When did you figure out it was fake?" She wiped her eyes. She said, "Maybe 2 months ago. I asked Somchai to see the receipts from the workers. He kept making excuses. I asked to visit the nursery where he ordered the seedlings. He said they were busy, we couldn't go. I started to worry. But he's my uncle, my mother's brother. I wanted to believe him. I said, "So you knew, and you didn't tell me?" "You kept taking my money." She said, "I didn't know what to do. If I told you, you would leave. And I needed you. I needed the money for my mother. For Dow's school, for rent. I was trapped, Graham. Trapped between you and him." I felt something cold settle in my chest. I said, "Your mother. Was she even sick?" Ploy looked away. She said quietly, "She has diabetes." That part is true. But the surgery, there was no surgery. I sent that money to Somchai. He said he needed it for the farm. He said if I didn't send it, everything would fall apart. I stood up. I couldn't breathe. I said, so everything was a lie. Your mother, the farm, all of it. She reached for my hand. No, not everything. My feelings for you were real. I did care about you, Graham. I still do. I pulled my hand away. Don't, just don't. She stood up. She said, I'm sorry. I know that doesn't mean anything now. But I am. I never wanted to hurt you. I was just trying to survive, to help my family, to build something better. And Somchai, he promised it was real. He promised we would all be okay. I looked at her. I said, do you have any of the money left? She shook her head. No, it's all gone. Somchai took it. Maybe some of it went to my mother. Maybe some went to rent. I don't know. It's just gone. I felt exhausted, hollowed out. I said, I loved you. I actually loved you. And you destroyed me. She started crying harder. She said, I know. I'm so sorry. I wish I could take it back. I wish I'd been honest from the start. But I can't. All I can do is say I'm sorry and hope that one day you can forgive me. I looked at her one last time. I saw the girl who'd smiled at me in the cafe. The girl who'd held my hand on the balcony. The girl who'd talked about building a future. And I realized she was never real. She was a character. A role she played. Maybe she cared about me in some way. Maybe there were moments that felt real to her too. But it didn't matter. Because in the end she chose the money. She chose the lie. And I was just the fool who made it all possible. I said, goodbye, Ploy. She said, Graham, please. But I was already walking away. I heard her calling after me, but I didn't turn around. I just kept walking. That night I sat on my balcony with a bottle of whiskey. I thought about writing her a message. Something final. Something that would make her understand what she'd done to me. But what was the point? She knew. And even if she didn't, it wouldn't change anything. The money was gone. The trust was gone. The dream was gone. All that was left was the truth. And the truth was this: I'd been scammed. Not by some evil mastermind, not by some heartless villain, but by a desperate woman and her greedy uncle, who saw an opportunity and took it. And I let them. Because I was lonely, because I was grieving, because I wanted so badly to believe that I could have a second chance at happiness. I poured another glass of whiskey. I thought about Carol. I whispered, I'm sorry. I don't know who I was apologizing to, her, myself, maybe both. The next morning, I woke up with a splitting headache and a decision. I couldn't stay in Phuket. Everywhere I looked, I saw reminders. The cafe, the beach, the bars. I needed to go somewhere new, somewhere quiet. I packed my things. I said goodbye to Niran. He gave me a hug and said, take care of yourself, mate, and don't beat yourself up too much. We all make mistakes. I drove north. I didn't have a destination. I just drove. I stopped in small towns. I ate at roadside restaurants. I stayed in cheap guest houses. After 3 days, I ended up in Chiang Mai. I'd never been there before. It was cooler, quieter. The mountains were beautiful. I found a small apartment for rent in the old city. 5,000 baht a month. About 200 Australian dollars. Cheap, simple, clean. I took it. I've been here for 3 months now. I live on my pension. I budget carefully. I cook my own meals, rice, vegetables, eggs. I don't go out much. I don't drink. I don't date. I started volunteering at a local temple, teaching English to kids. The monks asked if I wanted to help, and I said yes. I didn't have anything else to do. The kids are sweet. They call me Teacher Graham. They don't know my story. They don't know I'm a fool who lost everything chasing a fantasy. They just know I'm the Farang teacher who brings candy on Fridays. It's not much, but it's real. And after everything, real is all I want. I think about Ploy sometimes. I wonder where she is, if she found another foreigner to support her, if Somchai ever came back, if she ever thinks about me. But mostly I think about myself, about the choices I made, about the red flags I ignored. Niran warned me. Mark warned me. My own gut warned me. But I didn't listen. I couldn't listen. Because listening would have meant admitting I was alone. And I couldn't handle that. So I threw money at the problem. I threw trust at it. I threw love at it. And in the end, I lost it all. I tell my story now to other expats I meet, not to embarrass myself, not to get sympathy, but to warn them. Because I see them everywhere. Older Western men with young Thai girlfriends, holding hands in coffee shops, talking about opening businesses. buying land, building houses, and I see the same look in their eyes that I must have had. That desperate hope, that willingness to believe, that need to feel wanted. I tell them my story. Some listen, most don't. One guy got defensive. He said, "My girlfriend's not like that. She really loves me." I said, "I'm sure she does." What else could I say? Maybe he's right. Maybe his story will be different, but probably not. Probably he'll be sitting where I am in a year, wondering how he could have been so blind. I don't hate Ploy. I did for a while. I wanted to hate her. It would have been easier. But the truth is more complicated than that. She wasn't evil. She wasn't heartless. She was just desperate, trying to survive in a country where opportunities are limited and poverty is a constant threat. She saw a lonely old man with money, and she took her chance. And I let her, because I was desperate too. Desperate for connection, for purpose, for something to make me feel alive again after Carol died. We were two desperate people who found each other, and we destroyed each other. That's the truth. Not a villain and a victim. Just two broken people making broken choices. I got a message last month from a number I didn't recognize. It said, "Did you ever feel anything real?" I stared at it for a long time. I knew it was from Ploy. I don't know how she got my new number. Maybe she asked around. Maybe she never deleted it. I thought about not responding, about just blocking the number and moving on, but I couldn't. I needed her to know, so I wrote back. "I liked you, Graham. I did, but I had to survive. I hope you understand." I sent it. Then I deleted her number again. She didn't reply, and I was glad I'm still in Thailand. I didn't go back to Australia. People ask me why, and I don't have a good answer. Maybe because going back would mean admitting I failed. Maybe because I'm not ready to face my daughter and tell her she was right. Maybe because despite everything, I still find something peaceful about being here. The temples, the mountains, the simplicity. Or maybe I'm just too tired to start over again. I'm 64 years old. I lost $100,000. I lost my dignity. I lost my trust in people, but I'm still here. I'm still breathing. I wake up every morning. I drink my coffee. I teach my classes. I eat my simple meals. I go to bed. And I do it again the next day. Some days are harder than others. Some days I think about Carol and I cry. Some days I think about the money and I feel sick. Some days I think about Ploy and I feel nothing at all. Just emptiness. But I keep going, because what else can I do? I can't change the past. I can't get the money back. I can't undo my mistakes. All I can do is live with them, carry them, learn from them, and maybe, just maybe, use them to help someone else avoid the same fate. I met a guy last week at the temple, British, 62, retired engineer like me. He told me about his Thai girlfriend, how they're planning to open a restaurant together, how she's so smart, so business-minded, how he's investing £40,000 to get it started. I listened. I didn't interrupt. When he finished, I said, "Have you seen the location? Met with a lawyer? Got contracts?" He laughed. He said, "Mate, I trust her. She'd never screw me over." I nodded. I said, "I'm sure you're right. But just be careful, yeah? Get everything in writing. Protect yourself." He said he would, but I could tell he wouldn't. He had the same look I must have had 6 months ago. That desperate hope, that willingness to believe. I gave him my number. I said, "If you ever need to talk, call me." He said, "Thanks." He probably won't call. Not until it's too late. Not until he's sitting in a cheap apartment in Chiang Mai, wondering how he could have been so blind. This is my life now. Teaching English to kids who call me Teacher Graham, warning expats who don't want to listen, living on a tight budget in a city far from home. It's not the life I imagined when I sold my house and flew to Thailand. It's not the life I dreamed about on Ploy's balcony, watching the sunset and talking about durian farms. But it's the life I have, and I'm learning to accept that. I'm learning to live with the mistakes, with the regrets, with the truth. Because the truth is, I wasn't scammed by a villain. I was used by someone desperate, and I let it happen because I was desperate too. That's the hardest part to accept, but it's the only way forward. So I accept it. I carry it, and I keep going. One day at a time, one English class at a time. One conversation with another naive expat at a time. It's not much, but it's real. And after everything, real is all I want. Real is all I need. Real is enough.